Do you have a rolling mill but don't have a crucible or an ingot mold to melt down your silver and gold into? No worries at all. Let me just quickly show you how we can solve that problem. My name's Andrew Berry and welcome to At the Bench's YouTube channel. I personally think that the most important piece of equipment in your workshop is a rolling mill. It's the most expensive that you're really going to buy, but please do try and buy the best rolling mill that you can afford. If you've got to borrow money, you've got to smash open that piggy bank, you've got to call in some favors from people, you want to have it for a birthday and a combined Christmas present, just do it. Get the best rolling mill you can. A combination mill is going to be your best bet because you can do flat sheet, you can also do square section wire. Get one with an extension rollers on the end or a combined D-sections like the new Durston Agile mills, and you can do D-section wire as well. Absolutely brilliant. Please do save up, please do try and buy a rolling mill. I bought my first rolling mill well over 30 years ago. I still use it every day. It's downstairs. Jason and I just work it to bits and it's absolutely brilliant. But what if you don't have a crucible to melt down your silver, your scrap gold, and you don't have an ingot mold to pour it into? No worries at all. You can easily get your scrap silver and melt it down onto your soldering block. Not a problem. Melt it into a little blob. Let me just quickly show you what I mean with this here now. I've got some little bits of silver here. Let's get my tweezers because we're going to use those. Little bits of silver, little bits and offcuts that we've got from when we were doing a bezel. And just some little bits of odd bits of wire there. Make sure there is no solder in these little bits as well because you don't want solder. This is really quick. This is something that perhaps I would do if I'm working downstairs and I don't have a bit of sheet silver or sheet gold. Sheet gold, sheet silver. So if I want a little small piece and I can't be bothered trying to order a small little section, I would actually do this on my block here. Really quick, really simple, really easy. Let me just quickly show you. Borax cone is always very handy. People don't often show you these sort of little tips and tricks, but to be honest, when you're in a rush and you're trying to work on some jewelry and you're making something or you're repairing something, you need that little bit of sheet, that little bit of whatever it is you want. Really, really quick. Now, let me just use the bigger torch, otherwise we're going to be here for a little while. There a lock on this? There is. There we go. Cool. Okay, quickly just melt this down. Here we go, much better. Let's move that in. Get your borax cone, literally just dab it on the top like that. Flux makes the silver or the gold flow together. You can see how it's coming together quite nicely. Get your end of your tweezers, flatten it. Don't touch the end of your tweezers, pop them in the water, and before really the piece has had chance to cool down sufficiently, take it off the block. And what we got there now is a very, very nice, easy little piece of silver. Pop that into the acid. No worries at all. So that's something that really is quick. You can do it on your block, and we're going to go in the other room now, just quickly just roll that down for you to see how we can do that. Let's pop that to one side. So that's really simple. How thick is this? Where's my gauge? I lost my gauge, hang on. There we go. So that bit of silver is in the region of about 32 millimeters thick. It's slightly wonky because we're pushing down with the tweezers, but we're going to take that into the other room and we're going to do that now in a minute. Really, really quick. Alternatively, if you've got a charcoal block, like this little guy here, what you can do here, you can actually scoop out little channels. That will be like a rectangular section for doing perhaps some square wire or some D-section wire. And there's a little bit of a square area by here that I've carved out as well. Exactly the same thing. I've got a piece of silver here that's been made into a ring. We've actually got a solder joint on it. I don't want solder in place. It's not good. Solder will lower the quality of the silver and affect its properties. So I really need to cut that out first. Again, bit lazy. Let's get a pair of shears. Literally just cut out that piece of solder. That little bit now is going to go to one side. That's going to go up to the refiners because I can't really use that little piece because of the solder in it. So we've got this bit of silver. Let's just bend this into a small little piece, small little area like that. Perfect. We can melt that down. Then I've also got some little bits and pieces as well. Always try and bend them and just make them smaller like that. And I got some more bits of wire just like that. There's a bit of offcut here that's been, as you can see, just cut off something. It's got some of the blue plastic on it. Just try and take that if you can. We don't really need that on there. Easier said than done. I'd rather peel it off as opposed to melt it. There we go, that's better. And they can peel that off. Ooh, there we go. There. And likewise on the other side. Nice, okay, and let's just bend that round as well. Like that. Where should I put that one? Let's put that one by there as well. And what we're going to do, exactly the same thing. We're going to get our torch, we're going to heat it up, we're just going to melt it. End of your bit of borax. There's fire scale on a bit of this one. No worries about that. That'll just melt down quite nicely. Here we go. Warm it up. Bit of borax on it, I'll just help it melt. And we're going to melt that one into that little bit of a square. Get your tweezers to hand. Likewise with the back of it, it's gone down. We can ease it out into the shape that we've marked out, that we've scraped out in our charcoal block. Make sure it's nice and molten. Then get the end of the tweezers and just push it down into shape. Remember, they're hot, quench them. And then with the bit of wire that we're gonna make up with this one, melt that down, end of your borax cone, dab onto it like that, keep heating. And again, that'll take the shape of the little ingot channel we made. It's rolled up into a nice little ingot there. Let's just push that down a little bit with the end of the tweezers like that. Again, don't touch the ends of the tweezers. I know I've done it in the past. And then just take out your pieces of silver. What you'll find, the number of times every time you sort of do this, it's going to get, the charcoal block's going to get slightly more worn. Doesn't matter, turn it over, carve out another channel. So now we've got a nice bit of rectangular section by here. We've got this strange little piece here that we can roll into some sheet, and this little piece that we just squashed onto our soldering block as well. We've got 3 pieces now. We can go into the other studio, we can just roll these down, and I'll just quickly show you how easy it is now to make some nice usable sheet really quickly without a crucible and without an ingot mold, but with a rolling mill. Right, let's take these into the other studio and let me quickly show you. Okay, I lied. I've just got my rolling mill into the back studio. I can't be bothered. Oh, moving things around. Anyway, so these are the 3 pieces of silver we just that second melted down. I just quickly quenched them in the acid, get any oxides off, make sure there's no little bits of flux left on it as well. You don't want that. And they're all nice and clean. So as I was saying just a second ago, an agile rolling mill from Durston has the ability to do flat along here, square section on the right, and also here on the left hand side we got some D section. A combination mill is absolutely brilliant. You're going to get far more better use out of it than just a simple flat mill. If you just want to recycle your scrap, and it's far quicker and easier to do this rather than ring up and get it from the bullion dealers. So start off with, I'm just going to roll down those 2 little bits that we just did. Let me put that square section to one side a second. Let's just quickly roll these down. Obviously, it is important that you do get some sort of gauge to measure the thickness of the metal. This is a millimeter gauge that we're going to be using. I can't find my my slide rule. Actually, I don't know who's pinched that. So let's just quickly roll this down and just show exactly what I mean. So first of all, what we need to do is to open the jaws of the mill sufficiently to allow the metal in. Just pop the metal in, bring the top rollers down until it just touches the metal, as we got there. Just take it through to the other side. Put your hand on the other side to catch it. If you don't, it'll go on the floor. Take the rollers down, say about a quarter of a turn, put the metal in, turn it around. Yep, we got it there. Another quarter of a turn, put it in, and try and always put it in the same direction each time. I feel that, I'm not quite sure whether this is true, but there are obviously molecules, which is true, within the silver. And if you can roll it the same direction every time, so you can see with this little piece here now, we've got this little knobbly bit sticking on the end. We're going to use that as our guide, so that will go in first every single time. I think that way you don't get as many cracks developing, because as you roll, the molecules all lie together in a particular direction. You turn that bit of metal around, those molecules then are in the opposite direction, and I feel that sometimes the metal does crack. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But this is what I always try and do. Always try and keep the direction of the metal the same way. If then, when the metal gets a little bit harder and we have to anneal it, that first roll after that initial anneal, doesn't matter. Make sure then from then onwards, you always put it in the correct way every single time after that. So, quarter of a turn again. Now, obviously, if you want some sheet and you want it perhaps square, well then yes, you do have to put it through in one direction first and then turn it 90 degrees to get an even amount of spread. So you would go through it in one direction first, turn it around to 90 degrees, tighten the top rolls, put it through again, and that's what I'm going to do now. But always remember to put the metal through the same direction every single time. Tighten again, comes out, turn that metal now 90 degrees, the same direction each time, and your piece of metal now will be getting rather nice. So let's have a look. What thickness is this now? We're down to just over 1 millimeter in thickness. Let's go down to about 0.75. Again, 90 degrees, put it through, out, tighten the handle, put it through. And we are taking this down a quarter of a turn on the handle each time. We're down to now 1 millimeter, nearly there. And just before you get to that final 3/4 of a millimeter, what I would do now is anneal it. Anneal it, make it to a dull red, perhaps let it cool, pop it in the acid or pop it straight away into the acid, and then do a final roll to get it down to your exact thickness. Just warm that up, get your tweezers, gently warm this. Now turn it over, quench it in my acid, into the water. Nice. Now always make sure that this piece is completely dry. That's why I always put it back up onto the soldering block once it's been in the acid in the water, because the heat then from where I've just annealed it dries it nice and quick. Last pass, I'm not going to take this down a quarter of a turn, just going to take it down a fraction just to put it through the last time. Like that, and the same 90 degrees. And now I've got my piece of metal exactly what I'm after. There we go, 0.75. Nice, gorgeous, simple little piece of silver. We can do exactly the same thing with the bigger piece. This one is a little bit bigger, and yeah, we can carry on rolling this to whatever thickness that we want. Again, have to open up the rolls to allow that bit of metal to go through. Bit more, there we go. Some people will argue and say, well, yes, once you've melted your bit of metal down, what you have to do is hammer it. I don't really find I need to do that. I've never done that in the past, and my pieces of metal have always come out really, really nice, hardly any cracks at all. Some people say you have to hammer it to do something with the molecules again. I don't really feel I need to do that. So we can carry on rolling it. I find it's just a pointless exercise. Hammering it, you're condensing it, you're making it smaller is the same thing as putting it through a rolling mill. I don't really see the point myself. But if there is some scientific evidence that hammering your piece of metal will actually improve it before you put it through the rolling mill, well then just please let me know in the comment section down below. So we can carry on working this piece. I think the bigger the piece, the thicker the piece of metal, perhaps a quarter of a turn may be too much, but just do it a little bit at a time, and we're going to go through and we can flatten this. I'm doing about 1/8 of a turn, flatten it each time. I think I'm turning it the wrong way to the one downstairs, there we go. And we can carry on and do exactly the same to this. We anneal it roughly when I feel it has been sort of squashed by about 1/3 of its thickness. If you feel that it's getting that a little bit harder as you put the rolls over on it, well then there's no harm. Stop, anneal it, quench it, and start rolling again. So we can carry on exactly the same way as what we did with the other piece. You can see it's just coming along quite nicely. We can carry on rolling that in exactly the same way. What about that little bit of a square ingot? Yeah, we can do exactly the same to that there. It's got a rounded bottom, misses, and a nice square top, but we can use the V grooves on this particular mill to do that, and we can make up some square wire as well. Again, open this up nice and wide, put the piece of metal in it, come down until it just holds onto it, like that. Turn it through, out the other side. Now when you come to use the V grooves, it is important now to keep putting the metal in the same direction all the time. But always remember to turn it 90 degrees, otherwise you're going to get those little flanges on the sides of the metal. I love that word, flange. Okay, we've gone through one direction, we've turned the metal 90 degrees, we're not touching the handle just yet. We'll pass that through. Okay, now it's gone through twice, one this direction, one that direction. Now we can turn the handle down and do it through again, put it in, making sure it goes in the same direction, making sure you're putting it through. Out the other side, catch it so you know which way. Went in that way, now I turn it 90 degrees and put it through again. Here we go. And again, and we can keep going down a little bit at a time until we get the required square section that we want. It's very therapeutic. I actually don't have this bolted down to the floor, it's just on a cabinet at the moment. So as you can see, we've got the square section coming along really nicely now, and we can carry on rolling this down until we get to the required width that we want. At the moment this is 3.7 millimeters. Let's take this down to about 3 millimeters. And just before we get to the final 3 millimeters, we're going to heat this up, we're going to anneal it, and then pass it through for that final pass till we get out to the 3 millimeters. If you happen to come along and find you have a little bit of a crack developing on one of the edges, so stop, go to your bench, get a dissection file or a ring file, use that area on the file, then to file that little bit of a crack out. Just get that dissection and just file it out to get to the bottom of the crack, like that. And it is important to get to the bottom of the crack, so then there is no little mark there, because obviously when you start to roll it out again, there is a bit of a crack, it'll start to open. If there's no crack and you've gone right down to the bottom of the cracks, there's no visible crack, when you roll, the metal will not then part in that crack again. So keep going on down to the required size now. We've gone down as far as we can. We cannot turn those rolls anymore. So what then you need to do is to go back, loosen the tops, put the metal in the next V grooves along, pop that into place, and carry on rolling. Great, so now you've gone down to the required size. You now have got a gorgeous little piece of square section wire. You can put it through the flat now, you can make it rectangular section. If you want to draw it down into wire, keep on rolling it until it's about 1/5 to 1/2 millimeter bigger than the round wire that you require. Then you can taper the end, and then you can file it, and then you can take it through the draw plates. We'll come to that in another film. In fact, I think I've done that already. I'll link it up by here actually to show you how we actually do the round wire. Dissection, these rolls have got the dissection on the end here, and we can turn our square wire now into dissection. Let's have a look, see which one I'm going to fit in, the middle one there. Open the rolls until it fits in nicely, take it through, close those rolls, put it through. So there we got a lovely, gorgeous, gorgeous piece of dissection. The width on this now is 3.2 millimeters. The depth on this is 2.1. Let's go down that little bit further. And obviously, as you desection the wire gets wider. So if you had a 3 millimeter section of wire, which is what we did, we've dissectioned this. This is now 3.3 millimeters in width, because the metal not only squashes this way, but also spreads that way. And the thickness is spot on 2 millimeters, as you can see. So really, really quick. I know I've been talking an awful lot, but once you get into the swing of things, you can melt it down, you can start rolling it down. No crucible, no ingot mold needed. We've got some gorgeous, gorgeous sheet and also some dissection wire from the scrap that we have just melted down. I know it's taken, this was going to be a short film, but I've talked an awful lot. But as you can see, we can quickly melt down that little bit of scrap on our soldering block or into a little shape on our charcoal block to get that initial shape. We can roll it down really, really simple. Those are very small quantities to keep this film short, he says. Looking at the time on the clock there, it's been a bit of a longer film than what I anticipated. But as you can see how quick and easy we can melt down that scrap without any ingot mold without any crucible, purely on our block, quickly through the mill, quickly get it to the section that we require for our next job or for a repair. Don't forget, if you are using some silver, try and get a little bit of fine silver just to add to it to bring up the quality should the item need to be hallmarked. Same with 9-carat gold, add a small little bit of 18-carat or 14-carat just to bring up the finesse of that metal for when you actually need to send it to the assay office here in the UK. So really quick, any more films you want me to produce for you? I'm on lockdown here in the UK. We're like this for the next 3 weeks. I know you may be watching this after, but that doesn't matter. Anything you want me to show you on YouTube, just leave a comment in the description box down below or description in the comment box, whichever one it is. Let me know what films you want me to show you. I've got plenty of time on my hands. The shop is shut. We're not in the shop. I'm not doing any repairs, not doing any commissions. I want to produce films for you. So just let me know down in the description what you want me to show you, and I'll happily make these films for you. And don't forget, please, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. And don't forget that little bell icon, smash it if that is something that you're into, to be notified when films go live on our YouTube channel. Don't forget, please give this film a ding, a thumbs up if you like it. And don't forget, stay around to the end because there's a few bloopers because I've made some cracking mistakes and I do a bit of singing. Anyway, take care. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. A quick little film in response to some of the... It's easy to start off just by saying, my name's Andrew Bay, rather than trying to think of something to put before that, and I can just start the film. All by myself, I don't want... Okay, stop that. Okay, but you don't have an ingot mold. Let's just start again. Roll out and draw out, roll out and draw out, draw, roll in, roll in, roll in. I'm going mad. Second day on lockdown and I am going mad. You two little... I might show you two oh, just spider. Spider on the wall. I got it. I got 3 weeks of this. I'm gonna go mad. Mind you, I've got jobs to do at home. I've got to do the shed. I've got to put a new roof on the shed. I've got to build a partition with a little doorway in the garage. There's so much I got to do. I did say to Louise I would actually get round to it when I have time. I don't have time anymore. Anyway, bye-bye. See you next time.